Tensions in the South China Sea are surging once again, and this time, the United States is making a major move. A new naval facility is being planned in the Philippines, right on China's doorstep. Welcome back to GeoFrontline, your strategic window into global power moves, military shifts, and geopolitical realignments. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, this is your front line. The location, Palawan, a long, narrow island on the western edge of the Philippines, facing the South China Sea. It's just a short flight from key flashpoints like the Spratly Islands and Taiwan Strait. And now, the U.S. is quietly setting up naval support and repair infrastructure there. Something that could change the entire power balance in the region. Why is this significant? Because it signals a long-term U.S. commitment to not just visit the region with ships, but to operate, sustain, and defend from within it. In short, the U.S. isn't just passing through anymore. It's settling in, according to defense officials and reporting by regional military analysts. This new U.S. base will be designed to support naval repair and logistics for American and Allied warships. That includes destroyers, submarines, and potentially even unmanned surface and undersea vessels in the future. This is part of what U.S. Indo-Pacific Command calls distributed maritime operations. It's a strategy that disperses forces across the region to complicate Chinese targeting and maximize American flexibility. But the location, Palawan, is more than strategic. It's symbolic. Palawan lies close to Mischief Reef, one of the artificial islands China has militarized in the Spratly Chain. Beijing has deployed radars, missile systems, and runways there, all in defiance of international rulings. By setting up shop in Palawan, the U.S. is essentially saying, we're not just watching anymore, we're countering. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This new base is part of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, signed between the U.S. and the Philippines. Under EDCA, the U.S. can access and develop key Philippine military sites for joint use. And Palawan was one of the first bases listed. What's new is the shift in function from air operations and staging to maritime logistics and naval repair. That means longer deployments, deeper cooperation, and faster response times. And don't forget, this is happening alongside other moves across the region. In Northern Australia, U.S. Marines are rotating in and out in greater numbers. Japan is considering joint training deployments, and India, under the Quad framework, is expanding maritime cooperation with the U.S. and allies. This is no longer a loosely connected series of partnerships. It's looking more and more like an arc of maritime containment surrounding China's naval ambitions. Meanwhile, China is not staying silent. Beijing has lodged strong diplomatic protests, calling the U.S. Philippines naval cooperation a threat to regional peace. Chinese state media outlets have framed the Palawan base as part of Washington's so-called Cold War mentality. But let's be honest, this isn't about the past, it's about modern maritime dominance. The South China Sea isn't just about sovereignty. It's about trade, energy, surveillance, and missile reach. From the American perspective, this move serves multiple goals. First, it reassures regional allies that the U.S. will stand by them, not just in words, but in operational capacity. Second, it improves naval readiness. Being able to repair and rearm closer to contested zones is a game-changer for warfighting endurance. Third, it complicates China's anti-access strategy. Beijing has invested heavily in long-range missiles and surveillance systems meant to keep U.S. forces at bay. But if the Americans are already inside the zone, that whole strategy gets flipped. Now, let's zoom in on local dynamics. The Philippines, under President Marcos Jr., has been gradually, but clearly, tilting back toward Washington. After years of uncertainty under the previous administration, Manila is now doubling down on alliance building. Marcos has even stated publicly that national interest comes first, but that includes stronger defense partnerships. In other words, the Philippines is signaling that it won't be intimidated by China's gray zone tactics or maritime bullying. But this alignment doesn't come without risks. Beijing has already escalated its harassment of Philippine vessels near 2nd Thomas Shoal. Chinese Coast Guard ships have rammed and blocked Philippine supply boats. The message is clear. Any tilt toward the U.S. will come at a cost. But Manila is betting that standing with the U.S. and allowing new bases like Palawan will provide the long-term shield it needs. And here's something else to consider. This isn't just about defending the Philippines. It's also about protecting Taiwan. With Palawan within operational reach of the Luzon Strait, the crucial sea lane north of the Philippines. This new base gives the U.S. and its allies quicker access in the event of a Taiwan contingency. Think of it as a pivot point, part deterrent, part insurance policy. So what happens next? Expect to see more rotational deployments of U.S. naval assets to the region. Expect more joint drills with Philippine forces. And expect more strategic signaling, both above and below the surface. Submarines, drones, surveillance aircraft. All will likely increase their activity around the South China Sea, but also expect a sharper Chinese response. Already, cyber probes and diplomatic threats are rising. Beijing may also ramp up pressure on ASEAN states to distance themselves from Washington. In the great chessboard of the Indo-Pacific, every move like Palawan sparks a counter-move. Here's the bottom line. The U.S. isn't just talking about the Indo-Pacific, it's anchoring itself into it. The Philippines isn't just hedging, it's choosing sides. And China isn't just watching, it's preparing. This new base in Palawan isn't the end of the game, it's the start of a new phase. A phase where deterrence is physical, alliances are active, and the stakes are sky-high. So stay locked in to GeoFrontline, where we decode every shift in global power, every alliance that matters, and every strategy that shapes tomorrow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the U.S. move to Palawan makes the region safer or more volatile? Until next time, stay informed, stay strategic.